Alright everyone, we are back with some more of the house in Fata Morgana. And it seems like we're learning more about Jacopo and how he's still, unsurprisingly, a jerk. So we're going to continue on from there guys and see how it goes. So I hope you all continue to enjoy watching, and let's keep it going. Alright guys, and we are back. You see the slits in the disc? Look to the bottom one and into the mirror. Okay. Good, just like that. Bring your head in close. Here goes. Standing behind me, he slid his finger across the top of the peculiar toy, causing it to spin gracefully. And then... Ooh, that's lovely. Look at that. Ah, so what do you see? They're dancing. A man and a woman are dancing. Sounds like you're not having any trouble seeing it. Are they dancing well? Yes they are. It's the most adorable thing. What, adorable? That's funny. I asked to have it modeled after a ballroom dance. Yes, it's a very elegant dance. But you see, they're small like little dwarves, which I thought was kinda cute. And they seem so close, going around and around without ever letting go of each other's hands. This is incredible. Why does it look like they're dancing? They were all lined up in a row a few moments ago. Goodness, I just explained that to you. It's playing a trick on your eyes. What you're seeing is lots of different pictures in a short period of time. To put it in words you might understand better, it's an illusion. Your eyes are being fooled into thinking the image is moving. An illusion? But they're dancing. They really are. And they look like they're having a wonderful time. Are you sure it's an illusion and not something else? To me, it does not seem to be. I cannot see it as anything but two tiny people dancing. That's how it works. Reach out your hand and try to grab them. You won't be able to. Ah, you're right. That's a shame. I didn't think you actually would. But it's the most precious thing. They look as though they're dancing atop my palm. I was mesmerized by the strange phenomenon. Pictures were moving after all. Still images had begun dancing before me. It was almost as if God had breathed life into them. He had called an illusion, but I could not grasp that. He had called it an illusion, sorry. It was such an adorable, heartwarming sight. I imagined the two were off living in some other world separate from their own. They looked so happy. I was almost certain they were off dancing in their joyous world, free from all the sorrow and loneliness and pain of this one. Eventually, the speed at which they danced began to slow, as if they were resting their legs. I almost thought I could hear the sound of their feet with each step. Ah, they stopped. They can dance forever. They don't get tired. I see. I'm amazed such an incredible device exists in this world. It makes me wish I had gone outside sooner. I'm sure someone from a distinguished house as yours has seen plenty of amazing things for your family. Hardly. I rarely ever left the house. I'm ignorant about the ways of the world. If you had not told me, I would have probably never known about moving pictures, the illusion of moving pictures. Do you like it? Yes, of course. More than the portrait you had painted? Yes I do. The painting was wonderful too, but... You can't seem to make up your mind. Go on, tell me, which do you like better, the portrait or this? I like this better. I see. He looks somewhat pleased. Though when it comes down to it, this is a simple trick only a child would fall for. Then I suppose that makes me a child. If it means I get to watch something as splendid as two tiny people dancing, I'll happily fall for the trick. Quit describing it as two tiny people dancing. You're going to lose your head that far up in the clouds. Oh, I'm sorry. I do not know how else to describe it though. It's a toy called a phenakistoscope. Well, hold on. Phenakistoscope. Wow, that is a weird word. I'm just gonna go on. Phenakistoscope. Phenakistoscope. Okay, we're getting there, we're getting there. I learn a new thing every day, guys. Phenakis wheel. Close enough. It was invented around 30 years ago. I had the shopkeep make one modeled after the original design. So the shop owner drew this? He did. A lot better than you'd expect, isn't he? Yes, indeed. I'm surprised he could draw something so cute. Say that to his face and he'll go red as a beet. What I'd give to get a load of that. You should tell him that next time you see him. He's a sweet man. Despite how he looks, you mean. Oh, missed that. I missed that. It's not right to judge people based on their appearance. I'm just kidding. Don't take it too seriously. The shopkeep here loves new technology. The phenakistoscope is one such invention that caught his eye. You can trick the eye into thinking drawings are moving. Using a sequence of photos, you can perhaps make it seem as though real people are moving too. And if it becomes possible to show those images to many people at once, these developments could broaden the options artists have to express themselves. Not drawings, but photographs? Yes, photos. By taking hundreds or perhaps thousands of photographs, it would be possible to reproduce the world as we see it. This room, people walking down the streets. There's no point in recording boring everyday life though. If you're gonna leave a record of anything behind, it should be the projects and enterprises that move nations. Say for example, a moving record of the opening ceremony of the railroad. That would be something worth watching. And then in time, it would expand beyond a mere record-keeping technology and find its way into the hands of artists. Is such a thing possible? You must remain still for a long time just to take a single photograph. Right now, it isn't. But eventually, it will be. And I'm not simply fantasizing here. Is that so? It sounds so very futuristic. Do you... What? Do you want to support people who work on that sort of thing? Is that why you are friends with the owner? It has nothing to do with my... Oh, sorry. It has nothing to do with my wants. I merely think there's money in it. The rich starve for entertainment and artists create that entertainment. I have no interest in their pretentious self-expression. I just want their money. What? What's so funny? You look like you're enjoying yourself. Honestly, it's just about the money. As you say. Alright, let's get moving. Next is dinner. What? We're leaving already? Does that displease you? No, not at all. To tell you the truth, I wanted to spend a little more time playing with the Phenakis wheel, but I could not bring myself to say as much. Reluctantly, I approached the owner to return the wheel. Don't bother. Bring it with you. What? But... If you don't want it, that's fine too. Just make your decision quickly. You're making the driver wait. Having said that, Jacopo exited the shop. I alternated between looking at his back and the Phenakis wheel, debating what I wanted to do. Well, at least he's buying it for you if he's telling you to take it. And then with a smile, the owner whispered to me, "You're allowed to keep it, really. Your husband out there had it made as a gift for you." For me? A little while back, he came to the shop asking if I could make a phenakistoscope. I'm getting there, guys. I am getting there. Phenakistoscope. Let's go. Now, that about knocked me out of my chair. He's a man who almost never asks for favors. He's pretty damn brusque, and he's got a tongue sharp enough to cut steel, but he's not wicked to his core, I swear it. Really, because he comes off like one. So please, man, be a pillar of support for him. In that moment, the Phenakis wheel became a precious treasure to me. We had only just married days earlier, and yet he had commissioned it for me without even knowing what I looked like. I was filled with a warm, pleasant elation. I agreed with that owner. Jacopo was not a bad man. He merely had difficulty expressing himself. Hurrying back to the carriage, I gave him my deepest thanks. He glanced over at me for a moment, then turned back toward the window and muttered, "Yeah. Yeah, whatever." From there, we went to a restaurant for dinner. "You call this a pizza? The crust is the crust is an atrocity. It's like I'm chewing on rubber. How can you wave my country's flag and not serve spaghetti? Do you have any shame at all? This wine is pitifully unbalanced, far too high levels of acidity. Listen to me carefully. The house wine is the face of our restaurant." He complained about every little thing. It was a complete disaster. But curiously enough, I was not at all put off by his behavior. When the sun set, the carriage made its way to a nearby hill. The cool nighttime breeze felt wonderful on my skin, flushed from the alcohol, and the light from the gas lamps had a comforting warmth to it. Though Jacopo had complained about the quality of the wine, once he had intoxicated himself, his mood improved visibly. It made him unexpectedly talkative. Look out at the city. A gloomy town that shuts down at night isn't suited to expansion or growth, but this city isn't like that. You can see people walking beneath the lamps, and you can hear the bustle of them talking. This is a city that still has plenty of room to grow. As they ride the rising wave of the economy, many, many more people will gather here. More people means more money in circulation. More money in circulation means the city grows. Companies are founded and more goods are brought and sold. Bought. My bad. Will it really change so drastically? It can be difficult to see what's happening from the inside. The majority of people just go about their daily lives, and the next thing they know, things are different. No, I wager most don't notice the changes at all. Only those with eyes sharp enough to realize what's happening can see success. I cannot afford to overlook even the most minute change. Do you have a dream of some kind? A dream? I'm not sure if it's easy enough to call a dream. Others might call it greed, or perhaps ambition. Don't laugh now. My intention is to make the whole world mine. The world? Yes, the world. And to do that, you need neither physical strength nor kindness, but money and influence. People have no choice but to kneel before those forces. Why are you so intent on obtaining power? Because I want to change my country, I imagine. Your country? You are aware that I, like you, am an immigrant, right? I emigrated from an island in the Mediterranean, though not the same island as you. My country is a peculiar place where candor and violence go hand in hand. As a whole, the country is on the poor side, and if nobody does anything about that, I am one of but a few of my fellow countrymen who has set his sights on the New World. They are falling far behind other nations. If I find success here, perhaps that will catch their attention. But if it doesn't, then my country is doomed to collapse. You have so much love for your homeland. My feelings are a little more complicated than mere love. But that's nothing you need to concern yourself with. Well, I'll have to remember not to get myself drunk around a woman again. Forget everything I just said. It's about time we head back to the house. Alright, but, what is it? Is it alright if I provide you encouragement as you try to attain your dream? I know my presence is more likely to be a hindrance, but I would like to be there to watch as you trek forward. I suppose. Do as you wish. Thank you. You have my support then. Darling? Sent a shiver down my spine, though not an unpleasant one. I'm glad to have you as my partner. I was, without a doubt, happy then. His smile, the things he said, the Phanacus wheel he gave me, they were all undeniably real. And those memories give me the will to wait. For the day things go back to the way they were. They allow me to believe. Wow, that was operatic. This is something that actually happened to another maid. She heard a sound in the middle of the night. A sound like dripping water. At first, she thought it was raining, so she looked through the window, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky to cover the stars. Maybe it's a faucet, she thought. So she stepped out of her room and into the corridor. Compared to her room, it was unearthly chilly. The maid regretted not bringing something to cover herself with. But that didn't make any sense. Normally, the temperature wasn't that much colder outside her room. Her nightclothes had always been more than enough for a trip to the lavatory. Wondering what the reason could be, she made her way toward the sound. But then, she realized something. There were no faucets in the direction she was going. Rather, she was headed toward a hall. The mansion where she served had many halls, but this one was off in a far corner of the house, the least used hall of them all. It had a high roof, but not a lot of space, so it was difficult to make good use of. It also had a somewhat heavy air to it, a very curious room. It was the kind of place you might assign someone to clean as a part of their hazing. Oh man, I can imagine, that's terrible. Anyway, when the maid realized the sound was coming from that particular hall, she, as you might expect, let out an uncomfortable sigh. But there might be a leak, and having noticed, she couldn't simply ignore it, you know? So, as much as she hesitated, she pushed open the doors to the hall. There was nobody there, and it didn't look like anything was leaking either. There were no puddles or water stains anywhere to be found, but she could still hear the sound. Drip, drip, getting louder and louder. Slowly stepping further into the room, looking left, then right, then left again, she searched for the source of the sound, coming to a stop in the center of the hall. She stood there still, quiet, and then a chilly spot on the nape of her neck. With a little yelp, she reached back to feel her neck, but it wasn't wet. Confused, she slowly, warily tilted her head backward. And there hung the bloody skeleton from the ceiling. Oh man. Gah! That's rich. Amazing. Oh my god, you screamed like a little girl. Maria, you little... My god, are you men or children? This is my house and I would rather you didn't talk about it like that. Whose words were those again? Shut your mouth. How do you know about that? Were you eavesdropping? And another thing, I do not care for the sort of stupid fantastical tales you women so love to pass around. Because they scare you? You've never been able to handle anything scary, Jacopo. Gah. Whoa, don't glare at me like that. You're gonna destroy my sides. Oh, okay, so he has a weakness to scary stories, scary tales. So, did you come here for the sole purpose of telling me that cheap tripe? Acting tough after the fact just makes you look like twice as much of a wuss. Well, I mean, I did make up a good half of it, but the maid really did hear a sound in the middle of the night, and it came from the back hall of this very mansion. Did you know they say it used to be a chapel? Again, I have no interest in you women's little ghost stories. Is that so? You sure you're not just scared? Maria! Well, that said, the rumors aren't completely unfounded. This is a pretty old mansion, and it's had a lot of work done on it. Kinda feels like it's barely holding itself together. Like a big old quilt with pieces from all different type periods. The back hall is one of the oldest patches. There's a huge window on the far end and supposedly there used to be stained glass in it. It was a depiction of an archangel, they say. Ah, that picture. Such a shame. I wonder when it was broken. If it were still there, I bet it'd be worth a fortune. I find that hard to believe. First of all, why would anyone put a chapel inside a mansion? Got a point, I guess. Now, how about you do some actual work instead of distracting yourself with all this nonsense? I do work, but, the other maids can be a bit nasty, you know? Dealing with other women is like walking on glass. Am I to blame for that? What if I said you were? Don't give me that look. You're just not fond of me, simple as that. Nothing you can do about it. Is that so? Oh yeah, I was talking to the madam, and she was telling me you used to be quite the gentleman. Were you perhaps actually in love back then? You sure don't act like it, so it's easy to miss, but I guess you're not made entirely out of steel. Just like when you were younger, you're still. Do not speak of that. The past is not worth remembering. It is unnecessary. So do you. The past exists just to be cast aside. Nah, it's not important. You don't want me to talk about it. I won't talk about it. But your wife. Never mind. I'll leave you be. I'll have to get back to work soon, or I'll be staring down a headmaid's arctic smile. Alright. If the fancy strikes me, I'll drop by and we can trade more ghost stories. Maria? What, no ghost stories? No, not that. I have not forgotten those days. But, no. It's... I'll be off then. Alright. If the fancy strikes you, drop by and we can trade something other than ghost stories. What'd I tell ya? I'll consider it. Goodbye. Okay, so it seems like these two have a history. You can kind of tell because of his, the way his attitude is with her. Like they've known each other for a long time. Then again, she was his maid too, I guess. God damn it. Can't skip anything. Ah, they have grown to be so beautiful. Such a wonderful fragrance. The scent of roses is so calming. I wonder why that is. Would it cause any trouble if I picked one? Well, hello there. Out for a midnight stroll, are you? I swear this maid is a part of the mansion. Like, I'm fairly certain that's her connection to it. Like, we don't see her as much because she is the mansion. The mansion created her. That's my theory, at least. Quite the peculiar hobby, madam. I cannot spend as much time as I would like outside during the day, so I end up coming out at night. I apologize if I startled you. Oh no, not at all. There's a chilling, captivating beauty to the sight of your snow-white form standing there in the moonlit garden. I would hardly. What are you doing out so late? I saw a figure through the window. On the slight chance it might be a burglar, I thought it my responsibility to ensure they did not break in. It was also the middle of the night when the grocer's servant broke into their safe. News of that spread quite far. I am sure you would have heard about it. Oh, but Gamache was in prison some time ago. Dear me, cannot seem to get my head out of the past. Do you intend to give that white rose to someone? Yes. I was thinking about giving it to my husband. While I expect he has little fondness for such feminine tastes, the scent of flowers has a truly calming effect. He might find it relaxing when he needs a reprieve from his work. Oh, is that so? You are very kind-hearted. Oh, the same white rose again. Does that mean it's going to turn red? Speaking of white roses, the rose he meant to give you was the same shade of white. Oh, he? But when you touched it, it turned a deep shade of red. Ah, see? Boom. There was but a single white rose in the garden, so he was unable to give it to you as he had wished. In its place, he had a decorative rose fashioned for you. What exactly are you referring to? See, the maid is trying to remind her of her past life. Oh dear, you do not remember? Then am I to assume you have forgotten what happened to the rose accessory as well? He was unable to give that to you either. But that time, because you rejected the gift, I am not criticizing you for that decision, of course. You had a perfectly good reason for not accepting it. Heartbroken from having lost you, he buried the rose in his garden. Over the years, the roses in the garden withered away, and in their place grew a thick, unsightly nest of weeds. Many, many years later, that accessory was dug up by a beast. And curiously enough, it had not a speck of rust on it. A beast? You do not remember him either? The foreign man who, through his interaction with you, almost regained his humanity. I'm sorry. I have no idea what you speak of. The only gift I've ever received from a man is my Phenakis reel. And furthermore, I have only lived in this mansion for a year. While the garden was not as thriving as it is now, it was certainly not in ruins when I arrived. Because I had not been taking care of it, yes. But for whatever reason, by my hands alone, I was unable to make it into anything quite as splendid as it is now. Once you arrived and began to work on it, however, just look around. You have restored it to its former glory, to the magnificence of the flaxen-haired family's time. I promise I am not trying to fault you for anything. Now that I think about it, it makes sense you would not remember. Though you are still you are different than before. Different, though not in the sense that you are a wholly distinct person. Tell me, is your name... Again... Morgan? Is it Morgan? My name is... Yes, but you should already know that. Again. More proof that you are indeed you. Did you know that your current name is pronounced the same as the name of the person you are waiting for? What are you talking about? I have met you many times and I know of your past, of events that transpired long, long ago. I'm telling you the truth. I first came to this mansion just a year ago. Until then, I had never left my country or even set foot out of my own house. We did not have any servants either. So where then are you saying we met? This mansion, of course. But I'm telling the truth. It was a year ago, shortly after my parents fell ill and received an offer for my marriage. I knew something had to be done. I knew it, and I'm telling the truth. If that is what you remember, then I do not doubt you. But I also suspect I know why you seem so flustered. Are there moments when your memories seem hazy? When it seems like important details have fallen through the cracks? You needn't fret. One day eventually you shall remember all. One day. What the hell is this? A white rose. Did she leave this here? A flower? What does she think she's doing? Is she trying to aggravate me? That garden. That damn rose garden is a whole problem. Flowers serve no purpose but to deceive. That garden is a sign of weakness. It has no place in this house. Approximately a week had passed since then. The white-haired girl was, as usual, spending her time in her room reading, staying inside the house. Then Maria barged in. Madam! Madam! Oh my, you're out of breath. What happened? What happened is we have a big problem. The garden. The rose garden. The garden? All the roses you put so much love and care into growing are being chopped down. We'll lose them all if we don't hurry. Upon hearing the news, the white-haired girl dashed from her room and toward the garden with Maria following close behind. When she arrived, she saw a dozen or so sweaty, rugged men at work, Jacopo shouting orders. The men clearly had no conscience of how much a single flower was worth, no concern whatsoever for their beauty, for they mercilessly, thoughtlessly hacked away at the shrubs like they were naught but weeds. Each flower they tore from the earth extinguished another of the many lives the white-haired girl had put so much time and effort into tending for. Jacopo, what do you do? Oh, hello, Maria. I didn't expect you would come with her. Why? Why would you? Why? Why? It goes without saying. This house has no need of a garden. Damn flowers have no place here. Might as well do something worthwhile with the soil. A miniature railroad would be a better use of the space, and certainly a great deal easier on the eyes. I could even get my hands on some genuine wheels. The same wheels being used in the revolutionary Transcontinental Railroad. 10 or 20 years down the line, they'll be worth a fortune. Jacopo, you know how much this garden meant to me, don't you? Did it honestly have no place here? Flowers have a calming effect on people. They give you peace. They are not by any means worthless. So you're saying that white rose was your passive-aggressive way of telling me to calm down? Not at all. I simply thought you... At the end of the day, you're just using them for your own purposes to trick and deceive. To you, this rose garden was nothing but... Jacopo! You've gone too far. This isn't right. Gone too far? This is my mansion. What I do with my property is my business. With that rose arc out of the picture, we'll have a much better view. There won't be anything blocking the sun any longer. Weren't you supposed to be sensitive to sunlight? Spend too much time out here and you're liable to fall ill. Get back inside now. You too, Maria. The poor thing, though she did not say a word, was surely thinking, are you truly that determined to rob me of my sanctuary? The words twirled around in her head, unable to make the final journey to her lips. She stood there looking down her own feet as her husband marched off, and listened to the screams of the roses being wreathed. After being torn down by Jacopo, the garden reverted to a state of ruined desolation. A shame after all the work that went into resorting it to the beauty it has under the flaxen-haired family. And as Jacopo had said, in its place went scraps of metal, train wheels, prototype models, carbon rods. These items may have had value for him, but I certainly do not think it was worth robbing his wife of a place that made her feel comfortable just so he could store them there. Besides, I was rather fond of the rose garden myself. The roses seemed to evoke a sense of nostalgia in me. I felt as though somewhere far beyond the edge of my memories, I had seen another garden of roses, modest though it may have been, but I cannot remember when it was. Does that come as a surprise to you? I'm quite sure that there are periods of the mansion's history of which I am not aware. But in any case, Jacopo had caused many people great pain in order to repurpose that garden for himself. And he continued to walk all over his wife. Whenever she tried to do something kind for him, he would brush her off saying, "That's not your place." He paid no mind whatsoever to the looks of dejection that rose to her face each time he rejected her. I was beginning to wonder if anything she had said about the man he had been a year earlier was actually true. Wow, I never really believed it. He probably does have some, some semblance of gentle kindness as, she believes, but his ambition is way too strong for that. He won't allow it. And if it was true, could a person really go through such a drastic change of heart in such a short time? What do you think, Master? No, I've spoken enough about me already. I seem to be talking a lot about myself this time, but that is hardly appropriate behavior for a maid. Let us return to our tale. Alright guys, I'm gonna end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. Until the next one.